today we're talking about ink pads and blender pens. Now, blender pens get me on a little bit of a rant, so we're going to start off with the ink pads. Now, in your box, you had included an amalgam ink cube. Now, amalgam ink cubes also come in a full-size pad. So if, like me, you decide you're an amalgam addict, you can also grab yourself a full-size pad as well from Gina K or Ellen Hudson. I absolutely love it. I have my full-size pad here. They're also refillable as well. Now, amalgam is a hybrid ink, which means it's a dye and pigment hybrid. So with alcohol markers, you're either going to want to use a dye pad, which is water-based, or you're going to want to use a hybrid pad. And the reason I love hybrid is because you can use it with anything. You can use it with alcohol markers, watercolors, Gamsol. What else can we use it with? Pretty much everything. That's the beauty of hybrid. You don't have to think. So if I want to use alcohol markers and watercolors and Gamsol all in the same project, with hybrid I can do that. I don't have to think, well, opposites react, so what power do I use, blah 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 blah, and all those things. And I can literally just dive in and choose anything. An amalgam is one of those inks that is just particularly nice. It's a rich black, it works with everything. MFT Extreme Black is another really nice ink as well. And I probably would struggle to, say my favorite. It's just amalgam has always been there and I just like to use it. So let's choose a stamp. You can choose any stamp you'd like. I'm just gonna pick one off the sheet here. So here's one. And you can use an acrylic block or you can use whatever you'd like. It's going to be particularly juicy the first time. So either gentle touch, misty, stamp off technique, all of those work super well. And I'm just going to stamp this out. You can see it's really, really juicy. So I like to just do a couple of stamp offs and then I find it's in a really nice place. So stamp a couple of images and you'll find it evens out really quick. And then, just do a heat dry. This is just a tester piece, so I'm not going to worry. You can also see I did my practice piece there from yesterday. And then we're ready to colour. So this isn't going to smudge. It's not going to react. I can take my pen here and she crosses her fingers that it's dry enough because she's only just stamped it. But, I can take a nice light colour here. I can scribble over the top. And it's not reacted in any way, shape or form. It's perfect. So nothing's bled, nothing's moved, all of those great things. And that's the great thing about hybrid ink. I could do the same with watercolor inks, Gamsol, all of those things. Hybrid ink isn't going to react. That's why I love it. Anyway, let's go on to blender pen. So blender pen does not blend, it bleaches. Don't know why they called it blender pen. Gets on my nerves. I have to explain this over and over in classes. I wish they had not called it a blender pen because when people begin colouring, they put all their colours together and they put a blender pen over and then they're like, oh, that really sucks because that did not blend my colours together. All it does is it bleaches out colour. It's more like an eraser, which is great. Hey, we all love an eraser, but this is how you effectively use a blender pen. So maybe we're colouring away and our colour bleeds outside, or we're colouring away and oh, whoops, I just coloured outside the line. So we will take our blender pen, and typically I like to use the chisel nib of my blender pen. It's clear, and you're going to push that colour black inside. It's going to bleach out, so hopefully this picks it up. It's going to bleach out and make your paper look a little bit wet. But the effective way to use it is to push whatever colour you had back inside the lines. That's what you want to do. So if I had this bit of colour here, I'm going to push it back inside that other colour. And you can see it's bleaching it out. That's exactly what it's doing. But it's also kind of pushing it back inside that other colour. And that little boo-boo I had over here, it's not going to get rid of all this colour here. But at the same time, if I draw a heart, you can see it's bleached a heart in here. It's a bleaching pen. That's what it does. It has bleached a heart inside of that area. Here, I'll lift it up so you can see. I've got a bleached heart. That's exactly what it's done. So it is not a blender. It is not your blending friend. You can also do some super cool things of okay, I just want to add a smidge of this really dark red. So I can do a tip-to-tip technique of just, you know, touching this on here. So if I touch it on my dark red like this, so you see how I've taken it on my chisel there and I've bleached it out. Well, now if I take my chisel, now I have a line in it. So you can do some really cool things with it. You can also like add color onto it, and you can then just, you know, scribble it out. So, but now that disappears. But if I'm doing like a rose tip, you know, like the edge of a rose or the edge of a flower, I can bleach out the tip of my chisel, and now the edge of my chisel looks all bleached and I get like the edge of a crinkly rose. So trust me, having that bleaching pen can do some really cool things and it can fix mistakes, but it is not a blending pen. Anyway, rant over. That's my opinion on blending pens. So what I want you to do today is I want you to stamp out an image with your hybrid ink and either let it dry or heat dry it, whichever you prefer. And I want you to scribble over it to prove to yourself that there is no fear. This is not going to move around once it's set. I want you to scribble out and bleach something to prove to yourself this is a bleaching pen, not a blender pen. And then I also want you to play around with doing like a nice cool stripe like this, and also do what I did of a little boo-boo. So just go outside the lines and push it back in. Just practice that technique because it's going to happen to you. You're going to get bleeds. You're going to make mistakes. So I just want you to practice with those tools that we've given you in the box and just get used to them, get familiar with them, because tomorrow we're going to stamp out an image and we're going to start colouring, and we're going to colour in some leaves. So I just want you to do some of that practice work up front. So get comfortable with your hybrid inks, get comfortable with your blender pen, bleacher pen, and just kind of do some of those things that I've shown you here on screen. So go away, do those. Of course, take a picture, tell us your experiences, pop them in the Facebook group. I can't wait to hear more about it. I am loving seeing your blends. You did awesome jobs yesterday. I was amazed at how well you all did. It seems you also really like that technique as well of just turning it over, looking at the back of your paper, seeing how it looked, having that porous paper underneath. You can see mine is really starting to absorb my ink, but you could just reuse that over and over. Don't worry about that. You can replace it as much as you want to, but you really don't need to necessarily. But you did an awesome job. I can't wait to see what you're up to today. I'd love to know your experiences with that bleaching, and maybe that was an aha moment. Maybe that's where you're going wrong. Maybe you're putting your color down and then blending it with your blender pen, because I know I did that for a number of years when I saw those words, blender pen. So there's today's exercises for you. Go away, practice those, and I can't wait to teach you how to color in leaves tomorrow. See you then. Bye.